Okay, so you remember how I've been saying like the slight increase in traffic to the United States for the past couple months? The United States media is probably going to run with it. And CTV is jumping on the bandwagon as well. And their video basically frames it as Canadians warming back up to the United States. Well, if you ask me, as a Canadian, nothing has improved when it comes to the relationship with our neighbors. In fact, it's probably getting worse. And this guy, the President of the United States, he's still alive and soiling his pants. I mean, come on, McDonald's and cholesterol, hurry up and do your job. But it is disappointing to see our own Canadian media put so much focus on things like this, because it gives the wrong impression on what Canadians are actually feeling, because cross-border plate traffic doesn't equate to what we're feeling. But hey, maybe that's why my channel exists, to call out the US media and now even our Canadian media. But to prove that our relationship with our crazy-ass neighbor down at the south is not improving. We have this guy on our home soil, and he's been talking a lot these days. And I have a question, why are you touching her? So if anybody needs a reminder of why we're kind of pissed off at the United States, all you have to do is listen to Pete Hoekstra for about 10 seconds. So with that said, let's get started with the first report from CTV, basically giving the impression that Canadian stance with the US is starting to soften.
Some British Columbians appear to be softening the elbows up attitude when it comes to U.S. travel. But as CTV's Martin McMahon reports, while there has been a recent uptick to Washington state, many of us are still staying at home.
You know, it would be good for the news to actually report maybe why it's actually going up. You know, there's that big event with the people kicking around that ball. Or the fact that, you know what, it is the summer season coming around. And even last year, there was an uptick around this time. But no. They have to say that, Canadians are probably softening.
Seattle businesses have tried.
Yeah, screw you, Ibers. Sorry, I know I just paused earlier, but I have to say this. If you'd have been around my channel, you probably know why.
Tried peace offerings like steep discounts for Canadians, and border communities like Bellingham have tried to get the word out that the views in Washington state may not be the same as Washington, D.C.
More particularly Bellingham probably aligns further away than the federal administration does right now. So we're, I think, still the same people that have been here.
I really don't like this guy. But you know what? In this whole report, he doesn't mention exchange rate. And I think he might have learned his lesson. Now, if you're new to my channel and you don't know who this guy is, I featured him lots of times. He's the Bellingham Chamber of Commerce CEO, I think. And in the past, he's always said that, Canadians are not coming to Bellingham because of the exchange rate. If you haven't seen the video, let me show you right here.
The other really important component to this conversation is the exchange rate. I want to say that it was right about a 70 cents to the dollar, and we have always known that that is pretty close to the bottom of the exchange rate where it just doesn't make financial sense for Canadians to shop here.
Don't you just love it when US citizens make their own assumptions on why we're not coming to the United States? I mean, I put thousands of dollars into this guy's economy. Bellingham was a weekend thing for me and my wife. But he doesn't speak for me when he says that I'm not coming down because of the exchange rate. It's definitely not that, and I think we all know that as well. But many in the GTL community were just as pissed off as I was, even more pissed off. And I know for a fact that at least a couple dozen, maybe more, of the GTL community emailed this guy and reached out to him, telling him that his exchange rate excuse is bullshit. And I know this for a fact because many of you BCC'd me on your reply to him. So hopefully moving forward, he understands that it's really not an exchange rate thing. But there's one more thing that I want to comment on that he said, and it's this part right here.
We're, I think, still the same people that have been here.
This right here is not really a good thing for the United States, because Canadians and international tourists all around the world are really starting to understand who those people are. And as time goes by, we're starting to understand that the shops that we used to go to, the restaurants we used to go to, the money we used to spend in the United States, might be going to people that voted for this mess that we're in right now. And I know Bellingham is neutral. I think last time I checked, it was purple. So there's an equal amount of blue and red. But for me, that's too much red to be comfortable with. So yeah, for those south of the border, you might feel like we're just the same people we were before, which is true. But I think Canadians are really just understanding who these people are.
The latest numbers suggest that message may be getting through since there is a bit of a bounce back. Southbound BC license plate traffic is up 10% in June, 18% in May when compared to the same months last year.
No, CTV, that message is not getting through. I honestly don't know what we can do. I mean, CTV, we know that their investors are American. I guess the only thing we can do is really call them out every time this happens.
I think it is a sign that, maybe people are adjusting to a new normal. Some of the rhetoric has sort of died down a little bit coming out of the Trump administration.
I'm sorry, but what planet do you live on? Have you not seen the news in the last 2 weeks? You have a senator basically creating a bill because she thinks it's unfair that our alcohol is being pulled from the shelves when it's your country that tariffed us first. And then you got your ambassador saying that we didn't even pay for the bridge. So in what world has the rhetoric actually died down? Like, where are you living? I'm going to guess that you actually don't understand what is considered rhetoric to us. It's not just the 51st state stuff. It's this stuff on the screen as well, plus more.
But I'm relieved at least to see that the numbers aren't continuing to drop even further than they did last year.
Short answer is not enough.
There is an acknowledgement that all of that initial talk from U.S. President Donald Trump about making Canada the 51st state has done lasting damage.
I hear them, and they're really upset. And I think some of them are just done. Like, they're not coming back.
I actually do wonder if the GTL community had a reason or a part in why he's saying this. Because, as I mentioned earlier, some of the GTL community members emailed this guy and BCC'd me on as well. And I saw the replies. And a part of me actually wanted to say, like, whoa, tone it down a little bit. But it really does show how pissed off Canadians are. And when he said that some Canadians, they're just done, it really does sound like some of the people in the GTL community.
And I think when you have that strong of a reaction, it will take years, if ever.
Even with the bump, visits are still nowhere near the volumes before trade war tension. Traffic down 37% in May and June of this year compared with those months in 2024.
This is the only credible thing that I consider CTV reporting today. I mean, this kind of shows the bigger picture, not this softening bullshit.
Maybe, unfortunately, there's a bit of a feeling of resignation, like this is maybe a new normal, and we are seeing communities and businesses, not just here in Whatcom County, but along the northern border, start to reorient towards domestic markets.
The question now, if the recent uptick is a sign of a larger shift in sentiment or simply a temporary bump.
It's sad that I have to actually agree with the US researcher, because this is going to be the new normal. And for the US, start looking at your domestic stuff. That's what you're going to have to do. But it is sad that I have to disagree with my own Canadian media. And we all know this is nothing new, but it seems to be really emphasized over the last 6 months. I mean, I've been watching it. Because nothing has fundamentally changed. I mean, look at the Gordie Howe Bridge. It's a bridge opening, and we can't even open it without being held hostage. And to be honest, it's not just Canada. I mean, Bone Spur's new target is Spain. And it looks like he's got his eyes on Greenland again as well. So when all this shit is happening, the people who have already made their decision not to go to the United States, or not to support the United States, aren't going to magically change their decision. But if you think the rhetoric come from the US administration has died down, I want everybody to listen to this. And you, the researcher person, I want you to listen to this.
Both sides of the border.
As it has done.
US Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra told CTV's Your Morning Vancouver Canadian premiers have contributed to the tension between the two countries.
Because of some of the language that your president has used around the relationship with our country. In fact, just yesterday.
Some of the language that some of your premiers have used and some Canadians have used, there's fault to go around to both.
So to the Washington State researcher person that I showed earlier, your US Ambassador to Canada is gaslighting our premiers as well as all Canadians. And I don't want to hear that Washington State doesn't support this. I mean, he is still your ambassador to Canada. And Diaper Don is still your president. Basically putting the blame on Canada, saying that we have a fault in this when your country was the first to put tariffs on us. What Hoekstra is basically doing is ignoring the cause and only reacting to the reaction. Like the cause never existed or the cause is actually okay. But it's not okay to us Canadians. Are we just supposed to sit here and take it? So to your comment about the rhetoric slowing down, it has not. And I can give you tons more if you want. I haven't even talked about the citizen level yet. The 77 million that voted for him and basically every one of them who is supporting all the garbage coming out of this guy's mouth.
He had a cordial meeting with Premier Eby back in March after making inflammatory comments last year.
This business of Canada being mean and nasty to deal with, have your thoughts on that shifted, or is that still your view?
My view is I probably shouldn't talk about it.
You know what I just realized? This guy's a big tough guy when he's one-on-one with somebody. But when he's in a crowd like this, he's a little pussy.
Thursday, he didn't single out BC's premier. But Eby has been an outspoken critic of Trump and his tariffs, including when he removed all U.S. liquor from BC shelves.
If the president's so interested in Canadian water, then we're going to help him out by letting him keep his watery beer.
Eby's not the only premier to fire back at the president. Ontario's Doug Ford launched TV ads in the States critical of Trump's tariffs. And Manitoba's Wab Canoe said this about lifting an alcohol ban amid failed trade talks.
No Kuzma, no Boozma.
I love this guy. No Kuzma, no Buzma. Hey, let's hear it again.
No Kuzma, no Buzma.
I have to say, Manitoba, you guys are very lucky to have Wab as your premier.
BC's lead on trade, Jobs Minister Ravi Kahlon, backed up his boss.
I respectfully disagree with the ambassador. We did not threaten to annex the United States of America.
Hoekstra also pushed back on the suggestion that Trump's repeated threats to Greenland's sovereignty or making Canada a 51st state were unhelpful to ongoing trade talks, claiming security threats in the Arctic required tough talk.
Why Greenland, why Canadians might be concerned by those comments.
Take a look at what's going on. Okay, you can be concerned. Okay, I can't stop you from being concerned.
I don't know. If you ask me, this is not tough talk. I've had to do tough negotiations in the past. Some that actually lasted for months. But you can be respectful to each other while being tough at the same time. This guy here, he's just flexing his muscle, being an asshole. Straight up. And he's a great reflection of what the United States is right now.
The ambassador acknowledged that trade negotiations are more advanced between the U.S. and Mexico, with Canada talks in limbo.
I didn't think it'd take this long. Okay, I thought we'd be there already.
Let me see if I can translate this. He thought that we would have bowed down by now. Is that correct? Let me know if my translation is okay.
Why aren't we there yet?
Obviously, the two negotiating teams have not gotten to a point where they believe that it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty and work it out.
CTV News has learned that Hoekstra and Premier Eby met shortly after that interview. Eby's office describing it as a productive conversation despite their differences, adding that until trade talks resume, Eby won't lift the booze ban.
And I'm not going to lie, if Eby lifts the booze ban in BC, without all of the tariffs being gone, I'm going to be pretty pissed off at my premier. But everything that this idiot said right here, and has been saying for the past, 18 months? No, 17 months? It is continuing to destroy the relationship between our two countries. For me, the relationship's already dead, long time ago. But it's just adding to the pile. And I don't think we're going to forget this. And that's what a lot of US government officials and tourism officials are hoping, that Canadians are going to have short memories, and that we'll come back and spend money in their country. Which is why this video, I really wanted to counter the whole quote-unquote softening message from CTV. Sure, the numbers might be up for a couple months, but let's not forget, yeah, there was a big event with people kicking a ball around. But you have to look at the demographic of Canadians who are actually pissed off. Because a lot of us, we were the ones that were spending thousands of dollars, spending months, even half a year, in the United States. We already know that the Canadians that are still crossing into the United States, they're not going to as many destinations as they normally would. They go across the border, go to their destination, and come back. And we also know that credit card spending in the United States from Canadians is down as well. I'm pretty sure US tourism officials would love to have the Canadians that would spend 2-3 months and tens of thousands of dollars while they're on their stay, versus somebody that might just be going for 1 or 2 days and spend $1,000. So if you ask me, are things softening right now because we got a couple months that might be higher than last year? No. As long as Diaper Don keeps opening his mouth, there will be plenty of things to look at the United States and discuss. So I want to hear from the viewers. Do you think the whole crossing of the United States is starting to soften like CTV says? And if you're an international viewer, I want to hear if it's softening on your side as well. To close off this video, I would like to thank Chartranos from our Discord server for posting this photo from the Montreal Jazz Festival in Quebec. I appreciate you sharing this with the community, and I hope you had a great time there. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and select all as well. Now, if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.